This is Girard at Large.
Though the scheduled presentation on Common Core featuring officials from the State Department of Education did not take place, more than 50 members of the public attended the meeting in support of various speakers who opposed Common Core's implementation. Resident Deb Olsta presented the committee with news articles chronicling parent frustration with new report cards issued by districts that implemented Common Core in other states, and a Washington Post article reporting on a letter written by 49 principals in New York State saying the assessment tests were deeply flawed and causing extreme student anxiety. Anne-Marie Banfield of Cornerstone Action testified that Common Core was an untested program and questioned why there would be a rush to adopt it without an attempt to test it via a pilot program. She emphasized that personal data will be collected from children about themselves and their families, things like their political affiliation, religion, and medical questions, and highlighted changes to federal privacy laws that will enable the wide distribution and sharing of that data. She also testified that Common Core would enable psychological profiling of children without parent knowledge or permission. Her testimony, which includes research sources and the letter written by the principals in New York State, are published on my blog at GirardAtLarge.com. Anne-Marie Banfield last night in her testimony got to something that really made sense and shocked me all at the same time. You know, Common Core, what is being proposed for education here, has never been tried anywhere. Common Core has never been done. There is no working knowledge of a Common Core program, except apparently 49 principals in New York State sending a letter to the Commissioner of Education there because the assessment tests for their kids were such a disaster that they actually had suicidal kids. Now that is pretty extreme. So we've posted that article, which was brought to everybody's attention by Deb Olsta of Manchester, who's been I would call her the leader of the Common Core opposition here in the city. But teachers and principals in New York have expressed strong concern. Get this. This is one of the questions. You're going to love this, Dave. This is one of the math questions that were on the Common Core tests that fifth graders in New York had to take.
How many calories in a cupcake?
No, get this. Tito and Luis are stuffed with pizza. Tito ate 1/4 of a cheese pizza. Tito ate 3/8 of a pepperoni pizza. Tito ate 1/2 of a mushroom pizza. Luis ate 5/8 of a cheese pizza. Luis ate the other half of the mushroom pizza. All of the pizzas were the same size. Tito says he ate more pizza than Luis because Luis did not eat any pepperoni pizza. Luis says they each ate the same amount of pizza. Who is correct? Show all your mathematical thinking. This is a question on the Common Core test. Now, I'm sure Michelle Obama was unaware of this question because it has kids stuffing themselves with unhealthy pizza in a math question.
That is an unusual question. So what's the answer? Do we have the answer?
Well, apparently
because I'd have to get my pen working on that one.
Yeah. No, there's no answer. This is just a screen capture of the test.
Oh.
We, New York City and metropolitan area principals, hold ourselves accountable to ensuring that all our students make consistent and meaningful academic progress. Although we are skeptical of the ability of high-stakes tests alone to accurately capture students' growth, we understand the system's need for sufficiently establishing and measuring milestones of learning. We have been encouraged by the new National Common Core Standards call for more rigorous work that promotes critical thinking, and many of us have been engaged in meaningful curriculum revisions as a result. We were hopeful that this year's exams would better represent the college preparatory type of performance tasks that Common Core exemplifies. Unfortunately, we feel that not only did this year's New York State exams take an extreme toll on our teachers, families, and most importantly, our students, they also fell short of the aspirations of these standards. For these reasons, let me see. As it stands, we are concerned about the limiting and unbalanced structure of the test, the timing, format, and length of the daily test sessions, and the efficacy of Pearson, whoever that is, in the work. So they go on to detail, as a result, many students spent much of their time reading, oh, this is beautiful right here. In both their technical and task design, these tests do not fully align with the Common Core. If one was to look closely at the Common Core learning standards and compare them to the tests, it is evident that the ELA tests focused mostly on analyzing specific lines, words, and structures of information text and their significance rather than a wide array of standards. As a result, many students spent much of their time reading, rereading, and interpreting difficult and confusing questions about authors' choices around structure and craft in informational texts, a Common Core skill that is valuable but far from worthy of the time and effort given by the test. Spending so much time on these questions was at the expense of many other deep and rich Common Core skills and literacy shifts that the state and city emphasized, and it goes on and on and on. Basically, what these principals are saying is you can't teach to the test. Basically, what the principals are saying is that the test and the curriculum are disconnected. Basically, what the principals are saying here is that they're going to have to, either the test has got to change or what they teach the kids so they can pass the test has got to change. And all of them have signed it, all 49, who they are, the schools they belong to, it's all signed. The letter's a little on the long side, but for those of you who care about what the so-called educators in the building think, these guys aren't impressed. One lady last night testifying before the Curriculum and Instruction Committee brought out, he who controls the test controls the curriculum. The other thing that was interesting in Anne-Marie Banfield's testimony, and she cites this, folks, and I encourage you to get her testimony from our Oh My Blog site, because at the end of the day, she sourced everything she said. So that when guys like John Avard, the school committee member from Ward 10, go off and say, oh, this is all unfounded, John, read the documents. Simple. Read the documents. The only one last night that really asked any meaningful questions or made any points was Art Beaudry from Ward 9, who I thought asked some fair questions. Sarah Ambrosi, the chair of the Curriculum and Instruction Committee, did promise to bring Common Core back to the committee. She was very respectful of the people who spoke. But the point I started with is that Banfield noted that this has never been tried anywhere. This approach to education is absolutely unprecedented. Why is there a rush to implement this thing nationwide when it hasn't even had a test pilot program run? And she questioned why in New Hampshire we're doing this. Now, part of what she said, the answer was, well, a lot of states were trying to get race to the top money, for which you basically had to adopt Common Core. Guess what? New Hampshire applied for race to the top money. New Hampshire failed to get race to the top money, which means the race to the top money that most states were trying to get to pad their budgets or otherwise fund education was not obtained by New Hampshire. Which means, you know what? The cost of implementing Common Core is going to fall squarely and 100% on the property taxpayers of the state of New Hampshire. How much is that going to be? Interesting, but the state regs proposed by the Department of Education that are now starting to make their way through the rulemaking process, no mention whatsoever of a fiscal note or any cost. None. All 88 pages. Anne-Marie has posted that to our Facebook page. We will get it to Oh My Blog, so that you can see it too. Folks, there is a rush to judgment here. And I'm not saying I have all the answers, because I sure don't. Yes. But why people are working at breakneck speed to impose this is beyond me.
Live from our super secret studios above Jacques' Flower Shop, this is Girard at Large.
Yeah, baby!
Good morning, Manchester.
Live and local. News, sports, politics, traffic, and weather. Rich isn't afraid to tackle the tough questions.
Who told you you can eat my cookies? You talking to me?
Yeah, I hear you. You had a question for me.
It's all here on the Girard at Large radio program.
Hello? On 90.7 WLMW, New Hampshire Family Radio.
I'm sorry, who'd you say you were?
I am your host, Rich Girard. Thanks for tuning in.